Yo, it's Yerk, and welcome back to another episode of Fortnite Creative 101. On this episode, we're going to go over the remote signal manager, and I'm going to explain why this device is probably like one of the most useful devices in Fortnite Creative, even though there's actually not that many settings. But before we do all that, if you guys didn't know, I actually tested positive for COVID. I took a few days off, but I missed you guys too much, so I had to hop back on and make this video. So if you guys could do me a favor and drop a like on this video, it would really mean a lot. But before we pull out the remote signal manager and dive into the settings, let's check out just a couple of the cool things that this device is capable of. Here, I've set it up so that the remote signal device is actually going to be our garage door opener. I don't know why you would need a garage door opener in your maps, but I thought it was pretty neat. But let's just check out the next example. You guys ever play Call of Duty and hear enemy AC 130 above? Well, now you can literally create your own chopper gunner or AC 130 kill streak in your creative maps. And if you don't think this is cool, then I don't know what to tell you. And for our next example, this one's going to be a little more practical and you guys can probably get a little more use out of this one, but a simple 1v1 build reset button. You guys can get rid of that floating button. This ain't BHE 1v1. We got some new tech. Reset your 1v1s with the click of a button, and you guys already know it's infinite, so we can reset as many times as we want. Sick. And for our last example, before we hop into the settings for this device, you guys can make a house lock. Leave your house, don't forget to lock the door, then no one can get into your house while you're not home. Once you come back, go ahead and unlock it. Yeah, I mean, it's really just a house lock. But we're going to hop into these settings right after this super important announcement from our sponsor. Core is the free game creation platform that lets you make, play, and share games with no coding experience required. Powered by the Unreal Engine and completely free on the Epic Game Store, Core has all the tools that you guys need to turn your dreams into a real game and even a game dev career. Their latest event, the Game Creator Challenge, gives you guys the opportunity to join my Core faction and work with me as we compete as a community against 7 other YouTubers and their communities for $13,000 in prizes. If we get first, then 3 of you guys will take home cash prizes of $400, $500, and $1,000. But Yerk, what do I have to do to help out? I'm glad you asked, because we need everybody's help. We get 1 point for all of you guys that join the Core Creator Discord and join our faction by clicking the green dot in the hashtag #ChooseFaction channel. Then we get 10 points for every Core submission that our team members submit. But Yerk, I don't know how to make stuff in Core. Dude, no problem. I'm not the best either, and that's why I teamed up with 8-time featured Fortnite creator Lotus Cracker, who just so happens to be one of the top Core creators. Him and I will be available to help you out any step of the way, and the challenge will be announced on November 15th. But it's never too late to join. Click on the link in the description to join my faction for the Core Creator Game Challenge. But okay, let's place down a remote signal manager and see what this thing's all about, shall we? So the first thing to note is that the device requires one of the 4 remote signal items that we have. Before you can even begin setting it up, you gotta drop one of these remote items in so the device knows which remote you're trying to configure. So you can set up 4 different remotes, and all 4 can do a total of 8 different things, because the remote item allows you to send 2 different signals depending on which button you press. Like you can press the shoot button and send a signal on channel 1, but you can also press the aim button and send a signal on channel 2, all with just one remote. Then the only other setting that this device really has is called cooldown. This basically is just how long you have to wait between using it, and we can set it anywhere from 1 second to 1 hour, which makes this really cool for making custom like abilities and stuff. This device really leaves the possibilities up to you and your imagination, because you can make it do just about anything you want. It all depends on what other devices you decide to hook up to it. Like, check this out. We're gonna make a shotgun selector, and we're going to pull out a class designer so we can start with this, and we're going to drop in a shotgun, an AR, and some minis. Then we're going to set this to class 1, and then we're going to set up another one, and this time we're only gonna put in a tactical shotgun instead of a pump shotgun. And we're gonna set this one to class 2. Now, if we just pull out a class selector, we're going to set the class to switch to class 1, the time to switch to instant, then we're gonna set enabled during phase to none. Then we want to come down here and set change player to class when receiving from channel 1, then set enable when receiving from channel 2, disable when receiving from channel 3, and when class switch, transmit on channel 3. Then just copy and paste the class selector, and we're just going to change the class to switch to class 2, then turn enabled during phase back on, Then we're just going to set enable when receiving from channel 3, disable when receiving from channel 2, and when class switch, transmit on channel 2. Now, all we're going to do in the remote signal manager is set on primary action, transmit on channel 1. Then we just want to go into our My Island settings and set the default class identifier to class 1. And now if we start the game, we can just take our remote item and press the shoot button, and as you guys can see, it's just going to switch our shotguns for us, and we can just keep switching them, and it's always going to switch. How cool is that? What other crazy cool ideas do you guys have for this device? Let me know how you're using it in your maps down in the comments, but click here to check out my other Creative 101 videos. Click on the link in the description to join my faction for the Core Creator Game Challenge. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, stay up.